Hello and welcome to this week's podcast on the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. Today we'll be talking with an Armenian who is now living in London. The conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan started on the 27th of September and a ceasefire was brokered with the support of Russia on the 10th of November. Overall, the intense fighting lasted a month and 2 weeks. Over 5,000 soldiers were killed in the recent conflict and more than 150 civilians. With our guest today, we'll be discussing how the conflict as a whole was not reported and published by the UK media, and how there has been very little to no information on the thousands of people displaced by the war. I follow a few conflict journalists on social media and saw the horrific scenes as thousands of civilians had to leave their homes as the territory had been handed over to Azerbaijan. Some of the civilians even burning their homes to not allow the Azerbaijanis to live in them. However, since seeing the mass migration refugees leave their home, I have heard very little news on where they have gone and if they have homes to live in. There are no numbers online that can tell us how many people have been displaced. Hopefully this conversation with Alara will help us answer some of these questions, and if not, then at least it will help us think more about why these questions aren't being answered. The name of the interviewee has been changed to protect her, as there's been a massive amount of cyber attacks and abuse given to those seen to support Armenia by groups such as the Grey Wolves, who are a Turkish Fascist group, and other Azerbaijani groups. First of all,
Hi.
thank you so much for letting me talk to you today. I appreciate it.
No problem. Yeah.
Yeah,
Of course.
Just for those that don't know, so could you just introduce sort of like your name, what you're studying, where you're living, just sort of like who you are as like who you.
Okay, so I guess the most important thing is that I'm Armenian for this interview. I was born in Armenia, but then I went to study in Europe, in Budapest, and then I moved around, and now I'm in UK. So I'm a PhD student in Brighton, in humanities. I'm doing research in somewhere between linguistics and cognitive science and literature. So trying, yeah. So that's, I guess, all about me.
So for this is sort of like we can debate this. So why do you feel the Armenian / Azerbaijani conflict in
Nagorno-Karabakh.
so why do you feel like that conflict wasn't covered by the English media as much?
Because I saw more articles about how Trump's hair looked like than articles about the conflict, and not just Armenian conflict, any kind of conflict going on in in the world. It's just that the media is more concentrated on personal kind of stories, maybe, or what they can get attention with, rather than spreading real news around. So that's what concerned us, because we thought that everyone has the right to know what is going on, because this is not just a threat to just one nation, right? But it's also somehow cultural, and because a lot of cultural monuments are destroyed by war. So I thought people should be interested, and also in humanitarian crisis.
One thing that I found like really, I'd say, scary about this conflict in general is the way that it was taken to social media so much. There was horrific videos being put up on social media. There was, and I don't want to do blaming or anything like that, but it seemed it was almost the Azerbaijani and their supporters were terrorizing the internet with what they were posting, with what they were saying. If anyone posted anything saying they're Armenian, I know the journalist I'm friends with, he was people like from the Grey Wolves, which is the Turkish group, they were trying to hack him, and it was just like it seemed like even though there was obviously the war that was on the ground, it seemed like it had also been projected onto the internet for everyone to see, and it was. For me, it was really scary. Like I'd never seen this happen before, and obviously, like, how did you feel about it?
It was frankly horrifying. Because at some point you think, are people gonna believe all of this? Because like one lie created by one dictator gets spread so easily, And of course, it's because of social media. And all this propaganda is just unbelievable. And what money they spend all of this, what kind of energy they spend on all of this. If all that energy and resource was spent on resolving the conflict, I think it would have been resolved. Instead of creating hatred among people, creating understanding of the other culture, and not just. There has been videos, I'm sure you've seen, about how even in schools, in Azerbaijani schools, they had told the kids that they should hate Armenians.
Thank you. Could you tell us a little bit more about what you've been doing to help those in Armenia?
Okay, so I know quite a few organizations that in Armenia through, for humanitarian aid and helping people who have been displaced, or, for example, kids whose fathers died.
Yeah.
So there are quite a few initiatives, and I'm trying to participate in all of them or raise awareness about them. I have friends who are actually doing the main job, who I'm helping whenever I can financially, whenever I can, raising awareness. And I think that's pretty much what I'm doing. But also I'm trying to be in contact with some families who lost either their, family member or their house, and try to see what we can help them with, and which group to direct them to. For example, if they need more food or some clothes, warm clothes, or things like that. So that's a huge help for them right now. And if we can help them either by raising awareness or asking people to donate, I think that's a lot of work to be done. And at the moment, I'm trying to do that. And I'm not very loud in English about political stuff, but in Armenia, in Armenian, I'm pretty loud about criticizing other things that I think are kind of inner knowledge based, and I don't think that that would be of much interest to international community, because international community likes to see some kind of overview and not the inside, cuisine kind of questions of the country, right? So yeah, that's why I think that for international community right now, it's very important to know how many people are displaced. Like, that half of the population was displaced.
How many is that ish? Obviously, that
around 70,000 people.
Wow.
And yeah, so we're displaced. We gave, a city by name Shushi.
Yeah, Sushi.
Yeah, and if it's a town, you can imagine that a lot of people live there, and a lot of villages and other towns, of course. So all those people who live there, they cannot live there anymore, and they need some shelter. They need a place to stay. For most of them, there is some place to stay, but it's not great.
Yeah, so I'm guessing they can probably stay.
It's not even good. It's not about even great. It's about like normal human conditions that they do not have,
Yeah.
And I think that if someone wants to help, the help is needed right there, right now. In that aspect of, people who lost their houses, they also lost their jobs because they were in that region, right? And if you lose your house and your town, then you obviously lose also your job.
Yeah.
So they do not have income. They do not have anything, and they are staying in some kind of, I don't know, container or something. I don't know whether you know or not, but it's a thing that they put this little containers around, and then people who do not have houses have to live in those.
Are they like shipping containers, sort of?
Sorry?
Are they like shipping containers? The ones that you use for shipping?
Something like that, yes. Something because, like that. I'm from a region where the earthquake happened in 1988, and when I was growing up, everything was full of, these little, not houses, but they look more like a container.
Yeah.
There can be like a wood inside, but all over the place is some kind of iron shielding,
Oh yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Exactly. So they lived in this small places, that doesn't have any bathroom or even water in. So many people live like that, or many people live in one room, 10 people with no bathroom again. So, I mean, it's some kind of catastrophe that is not really shown again now in international media. I don't see any reports about what is happening, what kind of humanitarian crisis is going on there right now.
No, I've not seen anything about that really. Like I saw I saw obviously the videos of everyone having to leave, the roads packed as they were like all their belongings in one car or whatever they could get hold of, leaving the area. But after that, I've not seen anything in the news about
what's happening. No clue where they went, right?
No, you telling me that now? It's just horrific. Like, where would you go? Like you said, I was like, oh yeah, they've lost their home. But like you said, if you lose a whole city or a whole region, if you're a farmer, you can't farm. If you work even in a bakery, that bakery is gone. Like you've got, oh man, it's crazy. Like you've got no livelihood. Like it's
exactly
horrific.
People lost their farms. People had like trees that they were selling the fruits of, right? So it's really horrific. Like people who created that, like in 30 years, lost everything. They had taken like loans and stuff that they had to pay, and now it's all gone.
Yeah.
So it's a huge humanitarian crisis, and I don't know how people will solve this really. And again, Armenians are trying to help from outside, from inside. They're very together, let's say, in a sense.
I've been trying to follow as much as I can. Like I follow all these social media, and I really haven't heard that much about it, really.
Yeah, after the ceasefire, there were just 2 articles in each of the newspapers. Seriously, like online too. I don't mean like paper newspapers.
Yeah.
But like in news agencies, in BBC and stuff, like there were just 2 or 3 articles, mainly videos, about how people are leaving their houses. It was of course heartbreaking, but no analysis, no writing about it, nothing. Like where did all those people go? Do they have a place to go? Like, how can you not cover a refugee crisis?
Earlier on, you mentioned how sort of heritage was at threat and what was at stake from the war. Could you just tell us a bit more about what this war was being fought for?
Yeah, of course. I think that's a very important question, and if international community wants to do something, they should do something about this, because what is going on right now is that they started in Azerbaijan. They started cultural erasure of whatever was Armenian, starting with Dadivank, which is a very famous monastery, Armenian monastery, and they now present it as Albanian, and then they let Udin people. It's a special, little minority, let's say, living in Azerbaijan. And they let them have ritual there, saying that it's at first they were saying it's an old Albanian church. Now they are letting Udin people do something there. So I'm not quite sure what they're trying to do there, but either they are very culturally, not really educated, that they're trying to mix all of this, or they're trying to do it on purpose. And I am more for the second version, because that is what they're trying to do. They're just trying to erase everything. They have tried it before, so they're doing it now too. And what we saw in all the videos recently is that Azerbaijani soldiers entering cemeteries, and not just cemeteries, like whenever they see some kind of monument or something, they have to just destroy it. So a lot of vandalism is going on right now, and I have seen videos of at least 15 videos of how they're destroying crossstones, how they are destroying cemeteries, how they are destroying the walls of churches. And if they are doing it to famous sites, imagine what will happen to the sites that are not so well known.
Yeah.
In Armenia, there was we tried to compile all the list of monasteries and everything that was left there, all cultural sites and natural sites too. because there are quite a few of that too, and you can actually probably see it very, very soon, because it was submitted to UNESCO for protection, so they act and they protect all of this. But I'm not sure that they are fast enough because, as we see, it has started already, and we have lost so many. I cannot count. If you want quantity for me of how many churches or how many cathedrals we have there, I cannot count them, and I cannot count how many cultural sites we have there, and what has been done in archaeology of all these years has gone to nothing now, because they're going to just try to erase everything Armenian there, and this is a real threat because it's not just, I think people should not be indifferent when the truth is being manipulated.
No, it's true. It's like
when a culture is trying being erased,
they're trying to rewrite the history. They're trying to make it so as to say, I guess from, if you see it from their side, they know that if your heritage stays there, then the international, like we already know, the international community is like, that should be Armenian because it's their heritage, it's their land, it's their. So I guess the way they see it is that if they get rid of that, if they destroy it, then they can say no. This has been Azerbaijan since, and then no one can prove it. But as long as those churches stand, those gravestones are there, it proves that it is your land and that it is your heritage. So, yeah. It makes sense, but it's horrible.
Yeah, and now they're trying to rewrite it because in Taliban, for example, they are Russian peacekeepers, so they cannot destroy the church, right? So they have to rewrite the history, let's say, and present everything differently, so that when people come there, they do not learn that it's Armenian, although there's Armenian alphabet all over the place in there.
Yeah.
And
so they're learning that it's Albanian, not Armenian. Is that what's happening there? Okay.
Yeah, they're going to tell them that it's Albanian.
So just to finish off this podcast, could you just tell us what can be done to help the situation in Armenia? Obviously, we don't want to be picking sides or saying one side's wrong and someone side's right, but what can be done now to help the people?
Yeah, I think that right now there's just a few things that the international community can spend time on and see what they can help with, and that's the prisoners of war.
Yeah.
That's the war crimes that have been committed, and that's the cultural heritage that's being erased, and the humanitarian crisis needs the people, and talk to them and see how you can help them, or just see, I don't know, in Armenia what are humanitarian needs, because they are published all the time. So I think those are the ways that you could help.
Okay.
I mean, as an international.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
I would also like to thank you all for listening today. As you might already know, or maybe not will be known, this is a really complex issue, and it's not an issue that's going to be going away anytime soon. As with most wars, the fighting may have stopped, but this does not mean the suffering has. I have asked Alara to send me links to relevant charities and organisations so that we might be able to help those that need it most at this time. As we know, winter is well underway, which means that the need for clothes, shelter and food is even more than before. This is a massive humanitarian issue that has really gone under the radar, and hopefully not for much longer. Please tell your friends, your family, and share this online and the information discussed within it with others, for we really do need people to know that in Europe, as in with the rest of the world, there are people that need help. Last of all, there are still many prisoners of war that have not been able to return home. It would be amazing if you could write to your MP and politicians and put pressure on the international community to make sure that these men and women come home. You may not have known about this conflict before, but now you do. Please act now.